support this motion. But before I do so, Mr. Speaker, I want first to commend our government because of the efforts which have been put in the last few years to ensure as many citizens as possible are connected to power. Mr. Speaker, in our language, we usually say that people don't count the goods, they only count the bad part. I want to recognize the good which has been done in this country. We know very few people are having power connections, and this now has changed, and I trust that it is going to continue changing with the efforts which are being put in through REREC. Mr. Speaker, sir, my only concern in the efforts which the government are putting is that we are not, as a government, we are not kind of business-minded. What do I mean by that? While we talk of connecting every school with power, Mr. Speaker, sir, you find a transformer has been installed in a certain school, and it is only serving the school alone. The community allowed that school will be left without power. And that is why power becomes expensive, because providing a old transformer for only one customer is actually expensive. If one has to pay the cost, they will not even afford. When we come to dispensaries, the same case applies. A old transformer is taken for a dispensary, and not much effort is put to maximize the use of that installation. At least in towns, the installations have been maximized. So my plea to REREC and the government is to ensure that at least every installation which we have put in place is used to the optimal. Mr. Speaker, let's go back to the basics. When we talk of power, what do we mean, really? Those of us who studied physics, there's a law which we are calling the law of conservation of energy, which states that energy can neither be created nor destroyed. You can only convert it from one form to another. And the debate before us today is about energy. This power we are calling just power electrical energy is just being converted from hydro energy, from geothermal, from solar, wind, from diesel fuel energy. We know some people also use coal, they convert it to electricity, to electrical energy. What we are addressing here, Mr. Speaker, sir, is what is the cost of converting this God-free given energy into some form of electrical energy. And this is why we are talking of the independent power producers selling energy to us at a very high cost. My argument, Mr. Speaker, sir, would be this. It is the responsibility of the entrepreneur to convert this energy to electrical energy in a cheaper form. It is not the responsibility of the citizens of this country to shoulder a more expensive way of converting energy to electrical energy. That is the responsibility of the entrepreneur. Mr. Speaker, sir, I support liberalization. But liberalization will not be the solution to this, because we know when we talk of liberalization, we are talking of market forces. Let the supply and demand dictate the prices. But energy is a basic human right, as we know it, just like water is. You cannot eat or drink if there is no water and if there is no energy. And if it is a basic human right, which is actually naturally provided, just like I've stated, energy is already in existence right from creation, then it is the responsibility of government to ensure that every single citizen of this country is getting access in an affordable manner of that which was originally freely given by God. Mr. Speaker, what am I driving at? I'm saying there has to be regulation, a clear regulation. And it is the regulation of this, the prices of this energy which will tame the independent power producers, even as we look at a liberalized market. Because if the government says the price cannot go beyond this because of the citizens, then the independent power producers will have to look for a way of making sure that they are more efficient in the conversion of whatever energy form. Mr. Speaker, if the government does not do this, then a lot of things are going to suffer in this country. We are talking about climate change. Climate change which is being brought about by the depletion of our forests. What will happen to the common mwananchi when they cannot afford power? They will go back to the old way of living. They will go and cut the trees. They burn charcoal because they must survive. They use firewood. So, Mr. Speaker, it negates the efforts of the government to say that we plant many trees, yet on the other hand, we are discouraging the mwananchi from using the source of energy which would save these forests. So I recommend that there must be regulation. Number two, if conversion of energy to electrical energy becomes expensive and it goes beyond the level of affordability by the common mwananchi, Mr. Speaker, sir, then the government should come in and subsidize. We are talking of subsidizing production. Energy or electrical energy, like we have discussed in this house today, is being used in every area of production. So, for things to be produced, items to be produced in an affordable manner, the government will have to subsidize if regulation will dictate thus the price has to be high. Mr. Speaker, as I conclude, I want to mention a few things about Kenya Power. Kenya Power has got too many cartels which are operating with the organization. Mr. Speaker, when you apply for connection, you find some strange people calling you and telling you they are from Kenya Power and they are going to assist you to get electricity in a very cheap way, and they start asking for money. And because of the need for power, a lot of our citizens have lost money through those cartels. Mr. Speaker, when we get contractors also, who Kenya Power these days is working through contractors. These contractors, they will come and install power, and over and above, they extend some connections, which are said to be legal connections, to wananchi who actually don't know. And these contractors, they end up asking those wananchi to pay a little money, which is outside the normal connection, and they give them power. Only later for Kenya Power to come and call these ones illegal erections, connections, and they disconnect the wananchi. So wananchi are losing a lot of money. On the other hand, Mr. Speaker, sir, you find that where a legal connection has been installed, the wires will be stolen at night, because these contractors who go to give power for these illegal connections, actually they don't buy the material. They are just doing an installation in one site, and when they go to another site where they want to give an illegal connection, they go and cannibalize those wires, they steal those wires. I particularly have lost my wires several times, Mr. Speaker. This is why I'm talking of this. It's an experience I have. Look at the street lighting, Mr. Speaker. They are given to contractors. They are installed today. After a week, they are stolen, and they are taken to another site, and the government continues to pay. Mr. Speaker, sir, there is a problem with Kenya Power. They need to review how they are providing their services. I support.